Courtrooms are designed to project authority, control, and credibility. Every word matters. Every gesture is observed. And for public figures, the stakes are even higher, because the trial doesn't just happen before a judge, but before the entire world. In Harry's case, what was expected to be a serious legal proceeding instead became a moment many critics now describe as deeply damaging to his image. From the moment Harry entered the courtroom, observers sensed tension. This was not the confident, carefully managed public figure audiences had seen in interviews and speeches. Instead, there was visible strain, hesitation in his responses, frustration in his tone, and moments that legal analysts later described as unhelpful at best. According to multiple reports and courtroom watchers, the situation worsened as questioning continued. Harry appeared unprepared for the precision of legal cross-examination. Unlike television interviews or scripted appearances, the courtroom offered no friendly pauses, no chance to redirect the conversation. Questions demanded exact answers, dates, facts, and consistency. And that's where the problems began. Several of Harry's statements were described as vague, speculative, or based on personal belief rather than evidence. In a legal setting, belief is not proof. Observers noted moments where he seemed to argue emotionally rather than factually, a move that rarely works in court and often undermines credibility. Legal experts watching the proceedings were quick to point this out. Some commented that Harry appeared to misunderstand the burden of proof, expecting the court to validate his feelings rather than assess documented facts. This misunderstanding, they argued, made his testimony appear defensive and, at times, dismissive of the legal process itself. But the most shocking development didn't come from Harry's words alone. It came from what happened around him. As the proceedings unfolded, reports began circulating that members of his legal team were increasingly uncomfortable with the direction things were taking. While no dramatic walkout occurred on camera, insiders suggested that serious disagreements had emerged behind the scenes. Legal representation relies heavily on trust that a client will follow advice, stay within agreed boundaries, and not derail a case with impulsive statements. According to court observers, that trust appeared to be cracking. At one point, Harry reportedly contradicted earlier legal filings, something judges do not take lightly. Even small inconsistencies can be magnified in court, especially when opposing counsel is skilled at highlighting them. Each contradiction weakened the narrative his legal team had worked to construct. That's when speculation about his lawyers quitting on him began to dominate headlines. To be clear, legal teams don't abandon clients lightly. When lawyers distance themselves, it usually signals serious internal conflict, differences in strategy, concerns about credibility, or fear that continued representation could damage their professional standing. In high-profile cases, optics matter just as much as outcomes. And the optics here were not good. Body language became a story of its own. Courtroom footage and eyewitness accounts describe Harry appearing irritated, at times rolling his eyes or speaking over questions. These may seem like small details, but in a courtroom, they can be devastating. Judges are trained to notice demeanor. Disrespect, real or perceived, can influence how testimony is received. Public reaction was swift. Critics accused Harry of arrogance, claiming he believed his status should shield him from rigorous scrutiny. Supporters argued the opposite, that he was overwhelmed, emotionally exposed, and unfairly targeted. Social media quickly split into camps, with clips and quotes circulating out of context, fueling outrage on both sides. But one thing was clear: this was not the composed image Harry likely intended to project. What made the situation worse was the contrast. Harry has often spoken about standing up to powerful institutions, challenging systems he believes are unjust. While that narrative resonates in interviews and memoirs, it becomes far more complicated in a courtroom, where institutions operate on rules, precedent, and evidence, not personal narratives. Legal analysts noted that Harry seemed to treat the courtroom like a platform for personal testimony rather than a venue for legal argument. That miscalculation, they suggested, contributed significantly to the uncomfortable moments that followed. As reports of legal team dissatisfaction continued to circulate, commentators began asking uncomfortable questions. Had Harry ignored legal advice? Had he insisted on taking a more confrontational approach? Or was this simply a case of a public figure underestimating how unforgiving the legal system can be? Whatever the truth, the damage was done. The phrase "humiliated himself" began appearing in headlines, not because of a single explosive moment, but because of a slow, visible unraveling. In court, confidence without preparation can quickly look like entitlement. Passion without precision can sound like deflection, and silence from his legal team only amplified the narrative. In the days following the hearing, attention shifted from the case itself to Harry's broader public standing. Commentators questioned whether this moment marked a turning point, another crack in an image already under intense scrutiny. For someone who has repeatedly spoken about truth, accountability, and justice, the irony was not lost on observers. Courtrooms have a way of stripping away celebrity. Titles don't matter. Popularity doesn't matter. What matters is clarity, consistency, and respect for the process. On that day, many felt Harry struggled to meet those expectations. Whether his legal team formally quit, distanced themselves, or simply reconsidered their strategy, one thing remains undeniable: the courtroom did not go as planned. What was meant to be a moment of validation instead became a lesson in how power dynamics reverse once you're under oath. In the end, this wasn't just about a legal case. It was about image,